going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to a happy hour hang of Clips and Dip. Before we begin, we want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Sharif and Wilkerson, accident attorneys. If you've ever been injured or involved in a car accident, call or text Sharif and Wilkerson at 818-388-1343. Avid listener and friend of the show that help you make money and get what you need. When you get injured, nobody understands your pain like a Clipper fan. I think we can all agree on that. So give them a call today, and they'll swoop in like Superman. Shout out to Sharif and Wilkerson. We are live to talk Chris Paul returning to the Clippers. I am Chuck Mockler, joined by Adam Oslin, William Updike, and a guy I know constantly needs lawyers, Justin Rousseau. We're talking Chris Paul being back.
He got a name change. You need a lawyer for that because we call him Rousseau.
There we go. We're talking Chris Paul back with the Clippers. Before we get into the X's and O's of it and everything, this was kind of telegraphed. We were all expecting this news at some point this week, I think. Nostalgia-wise, how are we feeling? Because I feel phenomenal in that sense. Justin, Mr. Rousseau, we'll start with you. Just strictly nostalgia-wise, how are we feeling?
Yeah, why not? Why shouldn't you feel great? Like, I get it. People want a younger team. Let's get the old guy vibes, you know? Like, third quarter of a tight game, Chris Paul just randomly could look at, like, I don't even know. Who's even a young guy left on the team? Trenton Flowers could be sitting there, and Chris Paul could just straight up just tell him, hey, man, I've seen some shit. And, like, you know, you need that kind of vibe, man.
He went to Nam.
Yeah, what?
Hey, look, when you have the lengthy career of Chris Paul, you've been in a few literal wars. You've yelled at your center for not going up with a putback. You've had a flop off in Game 7 against James Harden in the bubble. You know, you've done some things. You've been murdered by a massive 3-1 collapse a couple times, I guess. And, you know, you've seen some shit. This guy's like a war vet. Let him come home and tell some stories, man.
Thank you for that incredibly morbid take on Chris Paul returning to the Clippers. Like a war vet to share some horrifying stories with the young ones.
They're not horrified. Like,
you just described horrifying stories.
Yeah, but they're character building, you know?
Okay,
it's
he's also Calvin's dad.
You live to tell the tale.
The real question is, who's he giving the watch to that he's been carrying around? You know what I mean? Who's getting that watch? That uncomfortable piece of metal. Who's getting it?
Will, were you like David Hong? We're also live at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. We're going to put this out on audio later. Will, did you also cry when you woke up this morning and saw the news?
Every morning, but that's unrelated to this news.
Tears of joy this time.
Will cries because he's happy he made it another day in this world. You know?
Yeah.
Every day is a mystery. Every day is a blessing.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was excited. Like, I feel like it's nice to have some context and some time passed, because even though things ended like amicably between the teams, things didn't feel right. And I think Chris Paul is the type of player who's sort of like annoyances and eccentricities are so magnified when he plays for another team that is not yours, that I think was kind of difficult. There were some regular season games of truly no consequence to anyone but me against the Rockets that were particularly frustrating. But it's good to see him back, and I'm glad that he's beat his finals addiction. And who knows? Who knows?
Relapse.
Who knows if he'll relapse this season? Who knows?
Yeah.
Can we just talk about for a second? He got blindsided.
He got
blindsided by Pat Bev and then still came back to the Clippers. What a legend, actually.
True. Adam, your nostalgic feelings for Chris Paul returning.
Yeah, I feel good about this, especially because he's still good. Like, he's still
very good point.
He still helps you win. If it was just the nostalgia, I'd probably get over it pretty quickly, but he can help this team. And I think that's the biggest thing here. But yeah, the nostalgia part of it, I don't know. I'm thinking of the Brian Seaman call when he hit the shot over Tim Duncan in Game 7. God bless Chris Paul. I mean, that stuff, I play it all the time in Clippers Rewind whenever they're going up against him now as an opponent, but now I'll be back with him. I love it. I'm here for it. I think, for the most part, all wounds heal. And if anybody was upset because he was the enemy and it's sports, it's time to get over that and welcome him back with open arms. It's time. Joseph Rye Award included.
Wow.
Wait,
Not
hold
so
on.
subtle shots at Joseph Family Man Joseph Rye Award.
Family Man, that's
He's not here
incredible.
to defend himself.
The kids have softened his cold heart, so he should welcome CP3 back.
Can you imagine that first ovation he get, like that opening night when he gets announced, like in like the the full introduction for every player, and like I don't think it's cheesy to say the arena that he helped build. And
it's a large part of their success to get
yeah,
I think that's fair.
and
not literally.
like I know we've kind of joked over the years, like, oh, so and so helped build this arena. That guy actually helped build it. Maybe not construction wise, but he was the reason it actually was able to be a reality.
Of course, you don't mean literally. Thank you for clarifying that.
He could have been there. We don't know what he was doing some of those summers,
Adam, I like that you mentioned that he's good, which helps this whole thing. It does. We've had
Chris Paul, notoriously not shitty at basketball.
Yes. What he brings to this Clippers team, Adam, you were tweeting out the mid-range numbers. The Lob the Jam had a very funny tweet that was, what do you trust more, Chris Paul mid-range, Russ layup?
Chris Paul mid-range might technically be more efficient at this point. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't dare look up those Russ numbers.
Yeah, I guess I'll go CP mid-range.
Yeah, that's what it is. He can hit the three. And I think people were worried about the fit, right? Everyone, including myself. I said I would chug a bottle of whiskey if he was brought on the team in any kind of way that he was going to start with James Harden. But all the wordage, we got to feel good, right? Lawrence Frank said.
A few people about to relapse, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it's a dark pod. I'm surprised that it took this turn so early, too. Lawrence Frank said today he's joining us as a reserve point guard and is excited to fill whatever role Ty Lue has for him. It's an A-plus move with that feeling, right?
Yeah, I think when Rousseau, you were on the call with him talking about the Bradley Beal signing, and he expressed, what it means, whoever the next guy is that signs with the Clippers. And to me, that kind of gave the blueprint of what they're looking for and the role that Chris or whoever it was going to be, but I think we kind of knew it was going to be Chris, had to accept. And he's buying in, and he's back home, and he understands it's a reserve role. They put that explicitly in the press release. There's no ambiguity about roles with guys they're bringing in right now. And he talked about learning from their mistakes in the past with that. And it looks really clear and direct with what they're expecting out of Chris and what he can provide.
Yeah, I think, well, first off, hats off to Law Murray for just straight up asking him. Because, like, at a certain, well, no, like, as someone once told me, if you want a direct answer, just ask a direct question. And that was a very direct question. Got a very direct answer, which kind of also gave it away that it was happening, just based on the fact that, like, of course we're looking at Chris Paul, like, why wouldn't we, kind of thing. And I thought it was interesting that when Shams did his little 2-minute hit that went out, he said that Chris understands that his role, this is a direct quote, understands his role could fluctuate from night to night. He might not play on some nights. So I think it's like there's no ambiguity over what Chris Paul is. Like, he's coming here to be a reserve guard, and on some nights, if James Harden doesn't play, he could possibly spot right in as a starter.
The one night that James Harden doesn't play, or the 3 nights based on.
Listen, I think they might make James Harden not play sometimes, just to like save him from himself. That guy plays. I know there's like this notion that he just is like this injury-prone player. He gets banged up a lot. He plays through a lot though, and even sometimes to the detriment of himself and maybe the team. But like that's just who he is, and sometimes they're going to have to save him from himself. It's what they did to Kawhi at times. So, I mean, I guess there's like, without going too far down the road, it makes you wonder, like, well, they're going to give James some back-to-backs off. Like, it's a possibility now.
To
Will,
me,
what do
the
you-
only no, I was going to say, to me, the only way you can reach the highest ceiling with this team is if you keep everybody fresh enough throughout the regular season so that going in, they still have a full tank in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say, Will, what do you think over under games that James Harden doesn't play next year? He played 79 last year.
I mean, I think he still is at like 70.
Yeah. I think he's not dipping underneath that threshold.
But I don't know. His playoff struggles, like he has had the hamstring thing and some health stuff, but it's also been fully healthy. So it's not, it's not like keeping him on ice is like the secret that they haven't thought of in the James Harden playoff trajectory.
Why didn't they just rest him more? This question from Meme007 was another kind of common, not dislike of the trade, but just something that adds to, a new wrinkle to maybe think about. Any concern about the offensive speed against younger teams? We already play a very deliberate brand of basketball. I can't remember who tweeted it, but they said the point guard play will be the most deliberate in all of the league, which is true, which is good. Any concern about the offensive speed?
Of course, there's some. I think there's obvious weaknesses that are all kind of centered around the age issue. And one of them is lack of rim pressure. I think that could be one. Rousseau wrote a great article about Bradley Beal, which maybe Lawrence Frank was referencing when he was talking about all the handoffs and how he was number one in points per possession off of handoffs this last season, Bradley Beal. Well, if Bradley Beal leans into that more and gets downhill on some of those handoffs, can he make up for some of the loss of Norman Powell and just add a little bit more pop? Like where his health is at is going to determine a lot of that. But I think that is, a little bit of a hole still missing on this team. Everybody has flaws, but just rim pressure. Now, if you're saying it's Ivica Zubac and just dumping into him, but I'm talking about attacking from the perimeter and slashing and getting to the hoop.
Yeah.
By the real quick, if you want any idea that people do read your articles, just listen to like the little between the lines shit that gets said at times. Because in Lawrence Frank's presser about Bradley Beal, he mentioned something about how we've seen the analytics, we've seen the numbers, we've seen the same tape that everyone else has seen about his defense. And I went, oh, yeah, I did kind of write about that. So
we've seen the Substack pieces staring directly at you. We have a super chat from the Sports Guru. Thank you. If you ever want to give us a super chat, we won't say no. Media not giving us much chance. Our take. Someone then said Kendrick Perkins is a clown. Hey, the chat does what it wants. They don't ever really give us a very chance because last time they did, they all got burned. So I don't think.
I haven't seen anybody like dumping outside of the Kendrick Perkins thing. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen anybody dumping on this Clippers offseason. I feel like most people have been pretty complimentary of what they were able to do and how they were able to maneuver the cap. I think if you're looking at, the competition in the West, I mean, like what do you want to do? Like it's a tough road to hoe. It's really tough to see this team, even if things click well and everything is healthy and everyone is healthy, like this team being able to win 16 playoff games seems like an insurmountable task.
Whoa.
Perfectly.
Whoa. Are you flipping from it's our year to it's not our year?
That was last year, pal.
That's what I'm saying. You're going from one to the other extreme.
That comment you threw up made me just want to start calling Chris Paul TC3.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one from Starman.
Toyota Corolla
can't
3.
teach IQ. He's old and can't play as many minutes, but who passes up a Toyota Corolla? 300,000 miles for $100.
Do you guys remember the old Toyota commercial jingle? I love what you do for me, Toyota, Chris Paul. And the guy like jumps in the air and freezes it at the end, really corny.
So it's not our year? Wait, yeah, because that feels like more of a bombshell.
TBD.
Resisting the urge to say we're so back and it's so over.
Exactly.
At the same time.
I think the age thing is real, but it's like I love
This
Adam.
is a team that's like frisky. It's like, oh, when they get to playoffs, like they can be frisky, like depending on seeding and like depending on the path. Like, no, this is not a team that I could honestly, with a straight face, outright say they can win 16 playoff games.
I thought when you said they were frisky, I just thought you meant like they get some random.
well, they're
burst of
old.
energy after
They're
rubbing
old.
icy hot on their joints. Just
That is quite
we're
literally
back.
what might happen at some point. Yeah, well, I think the reaction to, like, for the most part, people like even after that, they added, we got Collins, they did the Lopez thing, and now it's like everyone's like, oh, we can have home court advantage. It feels like that's, and then once it gets to the playoff, because the West is crazy, I think it says more about the West than the Clippers being not good enough for something like that, is how I see the Clippers changes, because the Nuggets got better, which is a pain in the ass. OKC stayed exactly the same. So it's like they get home court, add into it, I would be ecstatic with the regular season.
Are you into that? Are you into that if they get home court into it?
Russo's got to get out of here. Thank you so much for taking the time. But right, isn't it, Adam? Doesn't it feel like more like the West is so good? If this team was in the East, people would be much higher on them.
Clear path. I take what Will's saying. He's not wrong. It's hard to think of a team this old making it 4 rounds and winning it all, especially based upon the last 2 teams that we just saw. But I don't think it's totally out of the question either. It just has to be them getting by in their depth in the regular season, getting a top 4 seed. At worst, you're the 4th seed. You have home court in the first round, and you put a team away in the first round. I think that's kind of what it has to be, which is asking a lot, to your point, in the Western Conference because of matchups and how close it could be. But I think on paper, they're the 4th best team in the Western Conference right now. Like, I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
And 4th best in the West.
I don't haggle that. Just seeing a long playoff run. But again, I haven't even seen it on the court. So, like, my opinions could change. But, like, right now with this on paper team, the paper Tiger Clippers, 25-26, it's looking a little hard for that one to cross the finish line.
My biggest concern is they don't get a long span of good health in the regular season to A, keep themselves fresh for the playoffs, and B, build up enough continuity with the guys you are going to have to lean on in a playoff series. What were you going to say, Justin?
They've been, if you go off players who have gotten like actual rotation minutes, they've been the oldest team in the NBA for each of the last 3 seasons. So why not make it 4? You know,
that's great.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the age can play a factor as you get towards the end of a season and guys are tired or whatever. And in a playoff series, it can be worn down easier. I also just kind of don't care because like, it sounds weird, but like, to fail in the playoffs, you have to get to the playoffs.
Okay.
And I feel like this team is better suited to get to the playoffs than what their possible alternatives were.
Yeah, better team starting this season than started last season.
I would say in terms of talent,
and health.
yes, now and health, and in terms of
2 pretty
form,
big
fit,
things.
and function, we still have to see. Like, obviously, you need to see how guys actually do fit on the court. Like, we can sit here and say, well, they have all this talent, but it might not matter.
There's
if they
only
just
5
don't
of
fit
them.
together.
I think they can fit.
Five healthy players, maybe by one point in the season, But like, I don't know. I don't really concern myself with, can this team win a title today? Can they win the title? Be champions a year from now. I don't really look at that.
You can't think about this team a year from now.
Yeah.
Just the way the contracts are, like what? That's an exercise in futility.
Great call.
But also, like, how much has changed that we've seen in the NBA over the last several seasons from like this date to you get to the trade deadline, and then you see like all these guys get moved, you see players, injured, like it happens. So I don't know. I think their talent is really good. I got to see it on the court, obviously, but in terms of where their ranking or hierarchy in the West is, I think 4th is fine. Yeah. Do you need to be higher than fourth at this point in the West? I mean, it'd be great to be second or obviously first, but
Let's be honest
On
about
the
first.
table.
yeah.
So
let's be a little bit
we're
real.
2 wins short last season of being second in the West, and things could be that tight again, where it's going to be ultra competitive down the stretch. Even if you think you're banking some wins or doing well early in the season, it's still going to be really close. So when I say they could be fourth or the fourth best team, it looks like on paper in the West, that doesn't mean you can't end up being 2 or 3 standings wise by the end of the season. I just think OKC, because of their youth, likely going to win 60 games again. They probably are slotted in as being the number 1 seed as long as they don't have a major injury.
Houston's going to be really good.
Houston's going to be
Regular
good, but
season
they were
basketball.
relying on an older Kevin Durant who played 60 games this last year.
True. We got another question from Sports Guru. If Indy pushed OKC to the limit, why couldn't this team? We did push the team that pushed OKC to the limit.
To the limit.
To the limit.
By
By
transitive
transitive property. And one horrific, someone mentioned that all wounds heal. That alley-oop is not going to heal for me. So
Most ones.
yeah.
Clippers 25-26, push it to the limit one last time.
Push it to the limit.
CP3 and Harden going to get their first rings. I hope so.
That would be kind of incredible, actually.
Dude.
Like when you consider the
Oh,
amount
it'd
of
be
players on this
nuts.
team that have
Kawhi bringing the Clippers their first
Like-
champion. Like, it would be one of the most absurd championships story-wise.
That one.
I don't-
would
I don't
deserve
wanna
a
get, like,
dock.
down-
Bill Simmons.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that's
one would
freaking
deserve a
Celtics.
Who gives
I don't want to get too far like down the road of like, oh my God, like imagine the title. But just for one brief second, I just want to mention, if they won the title, I could not imagine Ivica Zubac's reaction.
He would weep.
Because I've talked to this man after they've been eliminated like over the years, and every time it's like, which is more than fair, obviously. He's like not despondent, but just like you can see it on him, and it's like, man, like this is the longest tenured Clipper now, and if he wins, especially like, be fucking
Are you
crazy,
the one
man.
he told a couple of years ago? Clippers can't have nice things.
I honestly don't remember. I've been told many things. So
Justin, you talked a little bit about fit, and obviously that's at the forefront with Chris Paul here. I think a lot of times, like throughout the 2 and 3 era, the Clippers have had a lot of depth. Like they went from a really like wing stop forward team to being crazy guard heavy. And I think at different points there's been a lot of depth. Like, is this the most well balanced though the roster has been in terms of like actual versatility and optionality at but still having like actual positional players, if that makes sense?
before I answer that, I just want to say, how pumped is Chris Paul to finally have his small forward on the Clippers?
It's true. Yeah.
It only took
we
him till he
go.
was 40.
Look at Kawhi and his power forward.
Exactly. And he's still got another guy that could jump and dunk at a power forward, you know? No, but to answer your question, I do think it could be. Obviously, you do need to see it. I still also kind of go back to like that first year where it was Kawhi and PG, but then like you had Pat Bev, but then you also had Lou and Trez. You had Zoo. They get Marcus, who was really good for them. And you have like all these guys who fit in around, and it was really good. Now I am curious to see what happens this year, but I could see the argument that if you don't look at the age of it compared to like what that roster was, like, because if you compare the ages across, obviously there's a massive difference there, but with any roster there really would be. But this team, it's the best point guard they'll obviously have, of course. Kawhi's still really freaking good, man. Like he's still I think people forget he's still really good at basketball. I have to remind some people every now and then. But Zoo's better than he was. Bench big,
better than Kawhi was.
If you want to compare, some say. If you want to compare it, like even go position by position, there is a bench big like conversation that could be had between Lopez and Trez, where
I mean,
Brooke has more utility in terms of lineup variations, but I don't also want to discount how incredible
1.3 points per
Montrezl Harrell.
possession in the pick and roll or whatever it was. Like the dumbest stat.
It was
Like,
disgusting. They will never. The Clippers could play the next 100 years of basketball. They'll never have a bench pick and roll tandem
and they'll
ever as good
literally
as that.
never have a
Ever.
bench guy get a 30-point triple-double like Lou Williams did against Chicago.
Was that the Steals?
No, I don't think so. That was when they were stuck in the snow before the game.
Oh yeah, he didn't make it to practice or whatever.
Yeah, and he was like, I'll have a 30-point triple-double. All right, real quick.
Oh yeah, he had 30 points and 10 steals against the Utah Jazz in 2018. That's what it was.
All right, we have some questions about the starting lineup we're going to talk about after this quick audio break. We're doing a Joseph Fry Award patented 26-minute segment. We're coming back with the audio to answer some questions about the starting lineup. In 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We're talking, of course, the Chris Paul acquisition, taking your questions live over at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. So let's get right into it. Izzy wants to know, would you rather Collins start so Kawhi is at the 3 or Beal starts so James has a ball handler? Both starting together would ruin our perimeter D till the bench comes in. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
I think I have some horrible news for Izzy.
What do you got?
It's that Collins will start and Beal will also start.
I think Beal for sure is starting. Collins is the only slight question mark.
Yeah.
I think he probably still does. I would lean that way.
The shooting to me, the shooting feels too good to pass up for that starting lineup. We have comparable shooting 1 through 4.
I've been really surprised, like when I've seen like some other analysts talking about, especially since the Beal acquisition, like him coming off the bench, and I definitely see the logic, but I would be shocked if like a starting role wasn't part of the conversation for him to even come here at the price discount.
It was. His agent said it. I mean, he's starting. That's over.
Like I would be absolutely shocked if Bradley Beal was not in the starting backcourt on the opening night for the Clippers. I would be stunned.
And I would be a little flabbergasted if John Collins wasn't.
They're both starting. John Collins making $26 million. He's not like I don't mean to reduce it to that, but like he's making $26 million. You're not having a $26 million guy be your sixth man or your bench player. Now, okay. Over the season, maybe they go through lineup variations where he doesn't start some nights. John Collins is a starting power forward in the league. John Collins is starting opening night. If John Collins doesn't start for any reasons other than injury, God willing, knock on wood that he doesn't get injured, John Collins is starting.
Same with Bradley Beal.
Right. They're both starting.
I think they need to at least try that lineup because it has the most upside potential if those guys, those two in particular, buy in defensively just a little bit or show more competence on that end than they have in past years. And I think they can, because then you're talking about, well, the offensive juggernaut they could be with those two. And then if they're just solid defensively, now you really have something special. I have my concerns that they're not going to have a real drop off on the defensive end, but I think you at least have to give it a shot.
Also, I wrote this the other day, even after my Bradley Beal piece. And to be perfectly honest, I was kind of scathing in what I wrote about his defense.
Dude. I was reading, I was like, hell yeah, Russo.
But at the same time, I do understand why they went and got him. They need the offensive help. And I even wrote this on Twitter and also on Blue Sky. It also comes down to, I do think we've also overvalued defense to a large degree. Not this group, but like the basketball community in general has overvalued defensive type players. When you look at the playoffs every year and you see two things, defensive role players quite often get played off the floor offensively because defenses don't trust them or respect them whatsoever. And secondly, even teams with average level defenses in the regular season scale up defensively in the playoffs when their best players get more minutes and the intensity of games go up. So maybe the pathway for the Clippers isn't let's have a top 5 defense and a top 15 offense. It's what if we got our offense, which was really good when Kawhi was back in the beginning of January from then on. What if we get our offense to be a top 5 offense and we have a maybe top 10, but probably top 15 defense? And then when the postseason comes around, all right, guys, now you just scale up. And I think that could be it. That is an incredible cat right there. That cat is locked right into
what you're
this
missing.
podcast.
If you're not
This
watching
cat is on the attack with me and has been the entire show so far.
The views are
I'm
going to
sorry.
spike.
Is that her bed right there?
Yeah, that's a little cat bed.
That's incredible.
It's Tuca.
Look at this.
Hell yeah.
Oh.
She's about 8 months.
Tuca likes the Chris Paul move. We respect. And I have my dog who's bringing me
the cat is on the offensive and maybe agreeing with the point of the Clippers having Beal and John Collins to start games.
But I also think that, like, yes, the Bradley Beal defense has not been good. But sorry, I had to push the dog away. That was great.
Nudge. We don't say push on this show.
I pushed his ass. Okay, he's in my face. He needs to relax. Bradley Beal's defense the last couple of years was not good, and yes, he has a track record of not being a very good defender. However, and this is what I did put in my piece, which is this is probably the lowest rung he's been on offensively on a team since he's been in the NBA. He's maybe the fourth option offensively, and if he is that fourth option and he's not being asked to do as much on-ball stuff, which is what I suspect that they're going to do, is they're not going to cede more James and Kawhi possessions to Brad,
right? Because
the Kawhi and James stuff is so good already and the Zoo stuff has been great, that maybe Brad is the fourth guy, sometimes the fifth, depending on John Collins and whatever else, that maybe it leaves them more energy on defense. There's always that possibility. Does that sound likely? Probably not. But at the same time, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this is a thing that they've looked at and talked about.
And I think it's also, like, to your point, Justin, like in the playoffs different. Like maybe we're not going to see a completely like a revamped regular season defensive approach. I still do expect to see improvements with this being the lowest amount of ball handling he's going to have done in I don't know how long. Like he's not going to have to be a point guard at all. But I would suspect in the playoffs that he's able to ratchet up more, even if we're not seeing it on a 82 game basis.
If I can actually pull it up in my manifesto of Bradley Beal, I think I said since the 2017-18 season was like the last time he wasn't like a high ranking in terms of usage and like on ball percentage was probably the last time that he wasn't like all the way towards the top of the percentile mix. So look, if they get him down to the 2017-18 level, or excuse me, 2016-17, that's what it was. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like he's been incredible on handoffs. He's a solid pick and roll player. He's great attacking closeouts. If he's spotting up and coming off handoffs as well, and using that to either get to the rim, which he's been really good at around the rim, primarily as a scorer, but also as a passer. I put in the piece that he's passed more last year on drives than Norman Powell did, and he finished at a higher rate as well. So that's an uptick. When you look at also his shooting, which while not to the level that Norman Powell has been the last couple of years, it's still been really good. Like 40% plus on catch and shoot threes and spot.
Yeah, he's still damn near a 50, 40, 90 guy, isn't he?
Yeah. Like, and that was also one of the things I wrote is we can look at Bradley Beal's numbers and be like, oh, he only averaged like 17 points and all this stuff. And yeah, he didn't have a good defensive time in Phoenix. And then you look at his efficiency and it's like Bradley Beal was bad, yet Bradley Beal was still very highly efficient as a basketball player, which the Clippers need out of their offensive structure. They need more variation. Ty Lue, it sounds like, is going to introduce a little bit more variation, especially handoffs. So I don't know. I think people have a reason to be excited about the Bradley Beal stuff, even if, I'm not sold on the defensive end of the floor, but at the end of the day, if you scale him back offensively, maybe the defensive end of the floor, has a nice little upswing, and we're back here in 8 months or even less talking about how Bradley Beal's had a really good defensive year.
I got real concerns about just letting go of an identity you finally reestablished with what they did last year defensively. But I do think it's fair to give this group a shot with these two new guys and see what they can do defensively, because you could be so potent on the offensive end. If they're just solid, that could be really special. But what I don't want to see is more on Kawhi Leonard's plate on the perimeter having a guard. That just, to me, now what's the point? You brought in John Collins to get him off the 4 spot, but he's actually running more miles per game because you don't have a real point of attack defender in the starting unit. That concerns me, but I get that Bradley Beal's starting and John Collins is likely starting, and I think you have to try that 5-man unit at the beginning of the season before you make any adjustments.
You know what's interesting too? I don't mean to cut you off. Well, I'm sorry. If you look in terms of like their top 8 players in minutes last year, they had 8 players play at least 1,000 minutes. The 2 who aren't back are Norman Powell, an offensive first guy, and Amir Coffey, an offensive first guy. And they need to replace the shooting that those 2 gave, because whatever people want to say about Norm and Amir, those guys were still 40% plus 3-point shooters and very good spot up guys, very good attacking downhill to the rim. Amir was great in transition, which is an area that they obviously are trying to get better in still. So on the surface, we can sit here and say it looks like they're changing their identity from last year. But like, I don't know if they really have. They've added pieces, but I don't really think they've taken away parts of their identity in terms of like the defensive end of the floor. They still have those guys. So they're just going to be repurposed into different roles. Now, does that lead to a change of identity? It could. I'm just interested to see kind of where they go from here from a structure standpoint for guys' minutes, because obviously they have like 11 playable guys now, and you're not going to play 11 guys a night. You're not the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's just be realistic here. But how many nights are you going to have 11 guys?
I think
Orange Frank was
that's
like
the real
20 to
question.
25 games you have your full crew during the regular season. So if that means more minutes for guys who are on the younger side, Derek Jones Jr., I think, is still 28. Chris Dunn is 31. If they're still playing a heavy amount of minutes out there, because that's what I think was obviously the big difference. I don't think Ivica Zubac turned into a different defensive player last season. I think maybe he was a little bit better, but the point of attack defense was so good. It just helped everybody out. And so I want to see them on the other team's number 1 options a ton still to slow them down. And if you're not having them in the starting lineup to start off games, I worry about guys getting hot. And then when you get a hand in their face, it doesn't matter because they're already in rhythm. But again, I get it. I get why you got to start with those 2 guys, with John Collins and Beal.
And then someone pointed out on the bench too, and Adam, we talked about this a little bit before we recorded, Lopez and CP3 as the backup point, or maybe not even backup point. Those minutes are going to be really nice for the Clippers because you're guaranteed to have 2 guys. The balloons agree. You're guaranteed. You have 2 guys who can just run the pick and roll competently. And I know that sounds so simple, but the Clippers' second and a half to third tier offense and backup centers have not been very good at that. So those things give the team a lot more stability too. And we haven't even mentioned Bogey, who is going to be able to not have. Will, you talked about this, I think, a couple episodes ago. Like, now we don't have to be like, well, Bogey's actually pretty good at running the show, when that's not what he should be doing.
Yeah. I'm curious. So one thing, I mean, like, we've talked so much last year about the identity, and I think part of that was like the locker room was the most cohesive, but after some notable subtractions. Is there any concern about now all these new additions? You know, we've talked about John Collins, big money player. We talked about Brad Beal, guy formerly a big money player. Chris Paul, very vocal locker room guy. Like, is there any concern there? I mean, we talked a little bit about about some of the astrology surrounding these guys pre-show, but what are we thinking? What are we thinking vibe-wise here? Are these guys going to be able to be on the same page?
I think this could be Coach Lou's toughest coaching job, and that's saying something. There's a lot to manage.
It's a lot. Like, it's, we got better for sure, but I do think that it's definitely a different set of personalities than it was last year, and I do think that mentality was one of those things that led to the it being greater than the sum of its parts. Was they were able to get on the same page, and I think aside from how good the defense was, you just knew what they were going to do on a night-to-night basis. Like, it just felt like the team had the most clear direction that it's maybe had in the, like, you know, entire 2-1-3 era. Maybe, like, you knew what you were going to see on a night-to-night basis. And I'm just curious how these additions all sort of shake that up.
Could you imagine Ty Lue, who's only 8 years older than Chris Paul, tell him to sit down and shut up at one point?
It might happen.
I believe it. I mean, maybe he'll have Jeff do it.
I think
Don't yell at Chris, dude. Chris is being a dick, man. Jeff,
Yeah, Chris is really pissing me off right now. You go talk to him?
we keep talking about the positive of having these guys on short-term deals, which means they have to perform and they're in a prove-it type of year. The other side of that, though, is guys can have their own agenda. They want to put up numbers because it is a prove-it type of year, and that's the delicate balance, I think.
This is a contract year, effectively, for Bradley Beal.
Beal.
and
Yeah,
literally
but-
John Colley. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, Chris Paul's retiring after this year, so he's not on
that.
deal.
But
Brooke Lopez is retiring at the end of this probably contract. So that's not a prove-it deal.
It's so funny.
so just 2 of the new starters are on prove-it
Just
deals.
2 of the starting 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
40%.
But I also don't know, like, Brad's gonna get a new deal regardless. So I don't even think it's a prove-it deal for him. Like, no team next summer is gonna pay Bradley Beal like max money or anything.
No.
So either way, I think Brad's just tied into whatever the MLE is next year. So I don't even think there's much of like a prove it for him from that point of view. And the reason I said MLE is
What if he wins
because
Finals MVP?
it's listen, then it's most of the mid-level exception, you know, it's like the major MLE at that point. But like, you end up looking at Brad, and I don't know how much he has to prove other than can he just be on a winning environment.
That seems pretty big.
He's been
to
on.
prove.
It does, but he's also just been on some really bad teams throughout his career. Not like all of it was his fault either. Brooke Lopez, I wrote it in my Lopez thing, like his first 10 years in the league, he was on like maybe one decent level team.
They were kind of weird malcontents
Like-
when they first came into the league.
It's tough, I think. Like, if you're not immediately part of a winning team, I think it's hard to show people that you play a winning style of basketball at times. I think it's just tough.
You want LaMelo Ball on the Clippers is what this sounds like.
That's not what I'm saying, but I appreciate it though. Now, Con Knipple on the other chance, Summer League MVP right there, baby.
Well,
That's where the real
Kobe
winners
would've
are
won Summer
born.
League
You know,
MVP if he didn't get hurt.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I actually think that. I talked myself into after 2.5 quarters.
How were those last?
Jordan Miller should have won last year, like easily.
Yeah, I think Russo, you posted that it was Jordan Miller's 9th game in a row with at least 10th.
10th.
Man,
10th.
That stat bums me out. You shouldn't have that many games in a row of 19 points in Summer League. That's just not.
But hold on. Can I also just say the 2 great Summer League factoids from this year that I just want to point out, and then we can get back to everything else. Because I'm a nerd. Everyone knows that. I love dumb shit like this. Okay. Number 1, Cole Swider of the Lakers is the all-time Summer League leader in made 3-pointers.
Also, on getting dunked on by Yannick.
There we go.
However, the caveat to this is he leads 2 different Summer Leagues in made threes. He leads the Las Vegas Summer League all-time in made threes, and he leads every other Summer League circuit combined in made threes. Totally separate type Summer Leagues, but he leads both of them. Number 2, the New Orleans Pelicans just lost their 11th consecutive Las Vegas Summer League game. That's the all-time record. It broke a tie from the Lakers, who like 10 years ago lost 10 in a row. So when we talk about how bad Summer League could be, you could be the New Orleans Pelicans.
Full disclosure, I watched the first 3 Clippers games, and then I couldn't bring myself to watch anymore.
That third game. No.
By the way,
that was the Laker one, and no.
Pelicans, it gets worse. They lost Queen for 3 months. Unbelievable. The guy they traded this year's first round pick for, which is crazy.
unprotected.
Joe Dumar's cooking with 2 phones, baby. 2 phones. He needed 2 first this year.
Just makes Zion to the Clippers that much easier.
I don't mean to like soapbox this, but the fact that not just Joe Dumars, the fact Troy Weaver got another job in the NBA after what happened in Detroit is insane to me. And they're together.
It's called a boys' club, Justin. And you're not part of it. Coming up.
Look, the Bad Boys Club.
Because I'm a man.
We're doing a quick audio break. We had to match Joseph Wireford's favorite segment length. We're going to close out talking about, I guess, expectations right now. I don't know. Coming up, you can watch these if you're missing this at youtube.com/ClippersPodcast. We'd love to see you there. We can see people like Justin Rousseau and Adam's cat. More Clippers Talk coming up right after this.
Welcome back in. It's Clippers Talk, a Clippers Talk live for you. If you're watching the YouTube side and now you're listening to the podcast. Dude. God, it's been a long day. Clips and Dip live. CMT.
Hey, man, did I see that you were live 3 hours talking about Chris Paul in the afternoon?
Thank you.
That was needed
for CP3. What do you mean? Of course I was going to go 3 hours. That's how it works.
Just checking on your mental health, man.
Yeah.
Making sure you're good.
I appreciate it. I did, by the way, I checked on your dog with a text message recently. Did I hear back from Justin Russo?
I'm sorry.
Hell no.
But
he's an instigator.
But I have good news. After 3 weeks, this dog is pretty much back to normal, and I have a new level of stress, which is I'm just pissed off at him all the time now.
That's great. Okay. Great.
So I checked on your dog, then I'll be checking on your mental health.
And he won't.
There you go.
Back.
Pets love a $500 tummy ache. It's their favorite thing.
Or double.
Damn. Are we going to do a impromptu Will Updike fun check? Since we're talking about all the checks right now, and I don't know if this is the last move of the summer for the Clippers, but I guess we're talking about expectations for this season and what we're expecting and how much fun are you having, Will? How are we doing right now?
I'm having a lot of fun for a season that hasn't even started yet. I mean, this is what the Clippers could do this offseason. I mean, absolute home run. And a lot of guys, I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to see how this all sort of fits together. Brook Lopez, fan for a long time. I was saying that we should have gotten him like after he was done with the Lakers. Like they let him walk. And that was when he like started shooting threes. He wasn't quite at the level that he would get to, but it was like, this is a legitimate 7-footer who can like is jacking up threes and also like just a cool guy. He's always wearing flip-flops. He does love Disney, which I'm not a fan of, but other than that, he seems like a good dude.
So you're hyped. You're pretty hyped right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm feeling.
I gotta see it on court, but I could be talked into our year.
I'm feeling the exact same way. I said last time we did a live, I was back to positive Chuck Mockler days. And I'm there again because we have the hard line of CP3 coming back in the reserve role. I haven't seen anything to nitpick yet, so I can't possibly have anything to be upset about, which I am timestamping this 7:49 p.m. July 21st, 2025. I feel phenomenal.
I'm also... Sorry to cut you off. I'm also excited. Like, this seems like, and I could be wrong, and this could go the very opposite way.
Okay.
But this could be a very light workload for Kawhi Leonard. This could be like a dicking around at work type of year, which is, if you've ever had a job where
he's doing hot foot.
For whatever reason, you get a week or two where your responsibilities aren't as high. You just kind of get to dick around. It's like the greatest thing ever. And that's what I want for him for a full season.
Even
Office Space Kawhi Leonard cooks.
Exactly.
Yeah. I would argue, how about this? Even just 2 weeks of that, because it's not like he's had a lot of time to dick around on this Clippers team.
Noted dick arounder Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, noted guy.
What was he doing all those games he missed?
Did you guys see when he put the whoopee cushion under Coach Lou's seat last year? That was crazy. Like, this guy is the fun guy for a reason.
He's doing hot foot. No, I am. Hot foot's also one of my favorite things in the world. I'm incredibly excited. I don't know. The pieces fit. Justin and Will, you talked about how it's a more balanced depth that we have. I cannot believe how well the front office maneuvered this offseason. I knew it would be. I didn't think they would be bad, but we're starting next season with a better roster than last year. We didn't lose any draft capital. We're still not in apron hell or whatever. 10 out of 10 offseason so far as I'm concerned. I cannot see myself being disappointed.
Can I ask a very important question?
Yes.
Do they get a Christmas game?
I was thinking about this too. I
It'll
think
be
they're
the
going to.
They will, and they'll also have a Christmas Eve game. It'll be the first Christmas Eve Christmas back-to-back.
But okay, so if we're gonna say they get a Christmas game, who did they play?
The Lakers.
I think we're getting Lakers Mavericks there, big guy.
Don't call me big guy ever again.
He big guyed you.
Damn.
Damn.
Listen up, Bob.
Someone's sticking around.
Yeah, my bad. I guess we won't. Clippers versus Clippers, I guess. How about that, Russo?
Hey, they have two.
I could see that.
Maybe. I also wonder if they might do OKC Denver.
Clippers Warriors.
Clippers Warriors could be probably what it could be. Do you get Chris against
Clippers Sixers.
No.
Add into a dome Christmas Day.
I like the add into a dome part. All right, wait, Justin Rousseau, your fun check. Where are you? Answer the question, dude.
I'm honestly, in terms of like the offseason they could have had, this is probably about as best as you could have hoped for. From not just like a level of talent aspect, but like there's from a reporting like coverage standpoint for me, this is great. You get the Chris Paul retirement year. You get
the
Kawhi Leonard
retirement year.
Maybe. But not even that, but Brooke Lopez, I know you poo-pooed on the Disneyland thing, but you get Brooke Lopez Disneyland stories all the time now.
Disney, it was Will, and he said Disney as a whole, not Disneyland.
Brooke Lopez was late to the game.
Sorry,
he got stuck on the Matterhorn.
I didn't even ask anybody. Justin, are you a Disney guy? I didn't even offend anybody.
I don't have any. I do not have a Disney opinion, actually.
Interesting.
I don't really care.
Non-committal.
So I'm a Disney Walt Disney.
I'm a Disney
more of a man than his output.
Yeah, more than all right. Anyway, back to the fun check.
I'm a Disney nihilist. Let's please keep it real here.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
No, like you get the Chris aspect of the retirement year. You get the Brooke Lopez stuff. You get Kawhi healthy start of the year stuff, to where you don't go into training camp having to wonder when he's going to be back. You know, another year of James coverage. The Nico story. This could possibly be his last year as well.
I would be.
Well, I'm just saying, possibly.
Look, the whole team's going to retire after they win the championship. They're all riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, this is going to be like when you're playing 2K and you're like, how many people are retired? This sim is broken. You're like...
You get the Brooke Lopez, or not Brooke Lopez. You get the Ivica Zubac's revenge tour for Defensive Player of the Year. There's all sorts of stuff you can get. Like, this is honestly one of the most incredible years in terms of cast of characters that they could actually roll out there in terms of media obligations. And that also worries me, because I wonder who the hell we're going to get on a night-to-night basis, but we don't go there yet. But
they'll put Brooke out there. Brooke is great with the media.
I would love to talk to Brooke every night.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It reminds me of Disney's Kingdom Hearts game, you know, where all these different worlds and characters are coming together, but you wouldn't know about that, would you, Rousseau?
I know what Kingdom Hearts is. What the fuck?
He did just say he was a big nerd. Kingdom Hearts is pretty nerdy.
Well,
I've never played played Kingdom Hearts, but I know what Kingdom Hearts is.
You just know a bunch about it. All right, Adam, your up deck fun check level.
More fun by the second here on this show, talking about Disney and everything. I'm excited for this team.
Wait, are you a Disney guy?
What is a Disney guy?
Are you into Disney? It's a simple question.
I don't have a membership to Club 33 or whatever it is. I probably haven't been to Disneyland in a good 10 years.
Oh, you're clear. Then you're totally, you're good. Yeah.
When you say I'm clear, like, so you're not a Disney guy, clearly.
No, none of us are. That would be crazy. I have much better things to waste my money on than.
I was a Disney guy back when there was the Big Four. Do you know what the Big Four Disney movies are? It was a four-peat by Disney. This was some Bill Russell type stuff. Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King. After that, I was pretty much out.
What about Mighty Ducks?
Okay, Mighty Ducks 2 especially.
Okay, wait, this is Patreon content.
The Irish.
As you know, our Patreon has already discussed dips and movies. It does not exist. But if we get enough support, we might have to start.
D&D, Dips and Disney.
Yeah, it's all Disney. It's very weird.
Dips, Disney, and dicking around, as Kawhi Leonard would say.
Yeah. So you're pretty hyped. You're feeling good.
I really do think this team has potential to beat anybody in a 7-game series. It's just the attrition of getting through 4 different rounds of that is the problem. How much are they going to have left in the tank when they meet that next team should they get past round 1? It's just, that's what scares me. But there is a pathway at least. And as I said before, we get a dream again with this Clippers team. I'm excited about that.
We get to dream again. That is a phenomenal way to put this this Clippers team. Okay, this person has asked this question multiple times. We have to answer it. Hot take: OKC 3 or lower, based on weight of expectations. I don't think the OKC
3 or lower.
Yeah, I don't think
OKC is not getting below 2, and likely not below 1. They're gonna, if they're healthy, they're going to have the number 1 seed. They could have won 70 games this year, guys, and Chet Holmgren missed like 2 months.
I think they'll be okay. That's my hot take.
Just decent.
I think they'll be okay. Oh,
Cool Runnings. What a great shout, man.
Yeah.
Cool Runnings was a good Disney film.
We got some more stuff in the chat.
You're bad mother effer.
Cinca,
it's that one scene where he hypes the guy up. John Candy. Legend.
All right, we got to get out of here. We're going to keep talking about Disney.
Sorry, we're just going to start talking about movies.
Well, that's not what we're going to do. We got a Kawhi revenge season from Jonathan Velasquez. Love that. Justin, thank you so much for being on the show. You have put out such great content to get Clippers fans ready with the new additions, with the John Collins piece.
Thank you.
And the Brook Lopez piece and the Beal piece. Some people are waiting on the CP3 piece, but some people don't want to write it. So
listen. If there's a Chris Paul piece, you're gonna have to wait a while.
That's fair.
I don't have the mental fortitude to do that right now. I'm actually tomorrow. I have an article. Tuesday, the 22nd. I have an article coming out that's about something for the WNBA.
Hell yeah!
Which it's data driven. So if anyone likes that type of stuff, I actually ended up.
I like data.
Not to sound nerdy, I scrubbed data from the WNBA stats site, and then I ran it through Excel, then pumped it in through another thing, and I have an article.
The third thing sounds ominous.
Well,
where can people read this article that has a third thing involved in the calculations that is going?
Well, it's not in the calculations. It's for a website that turns your Excel content into like interactive charts that you can actually click on, so that it's easier for people in articles.
All right, where can people find these interactive charts? That's pretty sick.
I almost forgot my URL, so it was justinrusso.substack.com.
You almost forgot that. Okay, well,
hard to remember, folks.
If you're listening, we hope you don't forget justinrusso.substack.com. That's so.
It's been a long couple days, brother.
Will, where can people leave a review? Because we are going to do audio. I know this is a video right now, but we're going to synthesize this, put it through a third thing. And then get it on audio for you.
Yeah, unfortunately, you won't be able to visualize this if you're not watching us over at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. But you can listen to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. If you happen to listen over on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, go ahead, leave a little rating or review. But yeah, you missed out not watching this on YouTube. That's all I'm going to say. But
Will,
thanks for listening.
Will, are you wearing the hat that the kid from Sandlot wore?
Is it a blank baseball cap?
Can you just can you side profile?
It does look like it's Smalls. Yeah. Was that his name?
Yeah, Smalls. Smalls is rocking the hat.
Yeah, but he can't play.
All right, Adam. One positive thing.
Was that Disney? No,
it was not. One positive thing for these Clippers fans heading into the rest of the week. Feels like it's been a couple days already, but
CP3. I think it's pretty clear he's the greatest Clipper of all time. Not the most talented guy to put on a Clippers jersey. I think that's Kawhi. But if you're talking about career, and now it's definitely ending as a Clipper, I think it's solidified that he's the greatest Clipper of all time. You get to watch him for another season in a different shade of red with his new threads, as he used to wear red for this team back when they had it with the Lob City days. They just brought back this past year. I'm really hyped. I think this is going to warm a lot of people's hearts in Clipper Nation. It's a good day.
There we go. It's a good day. Justin, the floor is yours.
I just want to talk about, could you imagine this year if Chris Paul's in the arena and they retire Blake Griffin's jersey?
I think there's a good chance.
That seems like pretty popular.
He'll be calling the game on Amazon Prime. He'll walk out of the broadcasting booth.
Might be one of the most sentimental moments you'll ever see probably the most sentimental moment you ever see in the history of the Los Angeles Clippers.
He'll try and dunk over a Kia, get hurt real bad.
Way to go, Chuck.
We had to end the show somehow. All right, we'll be back maybe later this week. I don't know, but definitely next week. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you to everyone in the chat, 99% of you. And thank you. It's just a good time. We get a hope again. And